So in this question number 136, as you can see here, which of the statement given below is not true about the formation of annual rings in trees? Option number 1 is annual ring is a combination of spring ode and autumn ode produced in a year. Option number 2 is differential activity of the cambium which causes light and dark bands of tissue early and late wood respectively, and option number 3 is activity of cambium depends upon the variations in climate, and option number 4, it has been said that the annual rings are not prominent in trees of temperate region. So, we have got this annual ring term in which chapter? It is from the chapter Anatomy of Flowering Plants. So, which of the statement is incorrect or not true? That is option number 4. In option number 4, it has been said that annual rings are not prominent in trees of temperate region. Is it correct? No. So, what is the correct statement for this? In the temperate region, since in the temperate region, the temperature or climatic condition is not uniform, so they form the spring ode and the autumn ode in different seasonal or climatic conditions. So, that causes the formation of this annual rings. So, this option that has been said that annual rings are not prominent trees of temperate region is incorrect. It should be tropical regions. Okay. Now, let us move on to the next question. So, in this question number 137, it has been said that which of the following ecological pyramids is generally inverted? Option 1 is pyramids of number in grassland, then option number 2 is pyramids of energy, then pyramids of biomass in a forest, or fourth option is pyramids of biomass in a sea. So, we have already discussed the ecological pyramids in the chapter ecosystem, right? So, which among them is the correct answer? That is option number 4. Pyramids of biomass in a sea is inverted. So, I hope you have remembered the chapter very clearly. Okay? Okay. So, let us move on to the next questions. So, in this question number 138, the placentation in which the ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary or in peripheral part is basal, axile, parietal or free central. So, we have already discussed this in the chapter Anatomy of the Flowering Plants, and you know what do you mean by placentation? Placentation is the arrangement of ovules in the ovary. So, which among them is the correct one? That is the parietal placentation is the correct option from these 4 options. Okay. So, let us see the next question. In the next question, so in this question number 139, which of the following protocols did aim for reducing emission of chlorofluorocarbons into the atmosphere? Montreal Protocol, Kyoto Protocol, Gothenburg Protocol or Geneva Protocol. So, we have got all this term in the chapter environmental issues. So, which among them is the correct option? That is option number 1. This Montreal Protocol was signed at Montreal, which is located in Canada in 1987, right? So, in the year 1987, this protocol has been signed in the Canada for reducing the emissions of the chlorofluorocarbons which deplete the ozone layer. So, in the next question, you can see here that is question number 140. Which of the following contraceptive methods do involve a role of hormone? There are 4 options and there are all the different kinds of contraceptive methods given. First option is lactation amenorrhea, pills, emergency contraceptive. Second option is barrier method, then lactational amenorrhea, then pills. Then option number 3 is copper T, then pills, emergency contraceptive, and option number 4 is pill, emergency contraceptive and the barrier method. So, which among them is the correct option? We have got this in the chapter reproductive health of class 12. So, option number 1, that is lactational amenorrhea, pills, emergency contraceptive involves the role of hormones, because lactation amenorrhea is the stage in which there is a high level of prolactin and it decreases the level of gonadotropin. Whereas the pills and emergency contraceptive, you know, that is the combination of progesterone or estrogen. So, option number 1 is the correct option. While the other options here, the hormones do not involve. Now, let us see the next question. So, in this question number 146, it has been said that the tidal volume and expiratory reserve volume of an athlete is 500 milliliter and 1000 milliliter respectively. What will be his expiratory reserve capacity if the residual volume is 1200 milliliter? So, here are 4 options given below. So, for this we have to find the expiratory capacity. So, from which chapter it is? It is from the chapter breathing and exchange of gases. So, you know all the residual volumes and expiratory capacity. What was the formula for this? So, in the question the tidal volume is given. Tidal volume is 500 milliliter, then the expiratory reserve volume is given. Expiratory reserve volume is given, that is 1000 milliliter. So, what we have to find? We have to find the expiratory capacity. So, expiratory capacity will be TV plus ERV, which is equal to 500 plus 1000 milliliter. That comes to be 1500 milliliter. So, this is the expiratory capacity, right? From this option, which among them is the 1500 ml? That is option number 1. So, option number 1 is the correct options. Now, let us see the next question. So, in this question number 142, what is the fate of the male gamete discharged in the synergid? First option is one fused with egg degenerates in the synergid. Option number 2 is all fused with the egg, and option number 3 is one fused with the egg and other fused with synergid nucleus, and option number 4 is one fused with the egg and other fused with central cell nuclei. So, we have to select the correct option. This is from the chapter Plant Kingdom of class 11, right? So, which among them is the correct option? That will be option number 4. So, in the option number 4, what happens? The male gamete one fused with the egg cell and other fused with the central cell nucleus. You know, in the central cell nucleus there are two polar nuclei. So, when the male gamete fused with the two polar nuclei, what do they form? They form the primary endosperm nucleus, right? And this primary endosperm nucleus is trisand, that means triploid fusions. The polar nuclei that have the diploid nucleus, whereas the male gamete have one nucleus. So, because of this it is triploid fusion. Whereas the first male gamete which fuses with the egg cell, that is called as the syngamy. Okay. So, this is a very easy question. Okay. So, let us move on to the next question. So, in this question number 143, what is the site of perception of photoperiod necessary for induction of flowering in plants? Lateral buds, pulvinus, shoot apex or leaves. So, we have discussed this part, that is photoperiodism. You know photoperiodism, that is the duration of light for the formation of flowers in some plants, right? So, that we have got in which chapter? We have got this in the chapter Plant Growth and Development. So, which among them is the correct option? That is option number 4, leaves. So, leaves is the site of perception of photoperiod which is necessary for induction of flowering in some plants. Alright. Now, let us see the next question. So, in this question you can see here question number 144. Select the correctly written scientific name of mango which was first described by Carolus Linnaeus. Option are given: Mangifera indica, then Carl Linnaeus, Mangifera indica Linnaeus, or option number 3 is Mangifera indica, or option number 4 is Mangifera indica. So, from which chapter it is? It is from the chapter Biological Classifications. We have got the binomial nomenclature which comprises of two components, that is genus and specific epithet, and among them the abbreviations of the scientific name are also written, that is the Carolus lineus. So, which among them is the correct option? That will be option number 2, Mangifera indica. Mangifera is written in italics and it started with the capital letter. Then indica, which is the specific name, that is also written in small letter, and Linnaeus, that is the abbreviation of the scientist who have discovered or has given this name of mango. Now let's see the next question. So in this question number 145, following statement describe the characteristic of the enzyme restriction endonuclease. Identify the incorrect statement. So in the first statement, the enzyme cuts the DNA molecule at identified positions within the DNA. Second option is the enzyme bind DNA at specific site and cuts only one strand of the two strands of DNA. Then option number 3 is the enzyme cuts the sugar phosphate backbone at specific site on each strand. And option number 4 is the enzyme recognize a specific palindromic nucleotide sequence in the DNA. So we have discussed this in the chapter biotechnology, its principle and process. So I hope you have remembered that the restriction endonuclease, what does it do? It recognizes the specific site of the DNA and cut the sequence of it. So which among them is the incorrect statement? That will be option number 2. So in the option number 2, it has been said the restriction endonuclease, which is an enzyme, binds the DNA at specific site and cuts only one of the two strands. So that is the incorrect statement. And first, third and fourth statement is the correct statement for restriction endonuclease. Now let's see the next question. In the next question, as you can see here, question number 146. From evolutionary point of view, retention of the female gametophyte with developing young embryo on the parent sporophyte for some time is first observed in liverworts, mosses, pteridophytes or gymnosperms. So which among them is the correct option? We have already discussed this in the chapter plant kingdom, right? So option number 3, that is pteridophyte, is the correct option for this. So from evolutionary point of view, the retention of the female gametophyte with the developing embryo on the parent sporophyte take place in the pteridophyte, and thus it is called as the precursor of the seed habit. I hope you have remembered that. So you have remembered these are the sporophylls and these are the two different kinds of spore, and thus it is called as the heterospory, right? So this is the correct option. So I hope it is very clear with you, and I hope you have remembered that chapter very well. Now let's see the next question. In the question 147, in Antirrhenium, that is the common name of snapdragon, a red flower was crossed with a white flower, and in F1 generation, pink flowers were obtained. When pink flowers were selved, the F2 generation showed white, red and pink flower. So choose the incorrect statement from the following. There are 4 options. Option number 1 is this experiment does not follow the principle of dominance. Pink color in F1 generation is due to incomplete dominance. Then option number 3, the ratio of F2 is 1/4 of the red color flower, then 2/4 of the pink color flower, and 1/4 is a white color flower. And last option is the law of segregation does not apply in this experiment. So we have already discussed this in the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variation of class 12, right? So which among them is the correct option? That is option number 4. In the option number 4, it has been said that the law of segregation. Segregation means the separation of the alleles, and alleles, you know, that is the unit of gene, right? And this alleles always comes in pairs. So these alleles follow the law of segregation, but it has been said here that this law of segregation does not apply in this experiment, whereas the law of segregation is the universal experiment, that is the universal law which was given by the Mendel. So this statement is the incorrect statement. Now let's see the next question. So in this question number 148, the conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, the first irreversible reaction of the glycolysis, is catalyzed by which of the following enzyme? Aldolase, hexokinase, anolase or phosphofructokinase. So we have discussed the glycolysis pathway in which chapter? That is in the chapter respiration in plants. So glycolysis pathway is a 10-step pathway, and in this the glucose first converted into glucose 6-phosphate by which enzyme? That is by the enzyme hexokinase, right? Okay. Now let's see the next question. So in this question number 149, the drug called heroin is synthesized by which of the following morphine? Methylation of morphine, or acetylation of morphine, or glycosylation of morphine, or nitration of morphine. So we have discussed this from the chapter Human Health and Disease. So which among them is the correct answer? That is the option number 2. Acetylization of morphine is synthesized, which helps in the process of formation of the drugs, that is called as the heroin. Now let's see the next question. So in this question number 150, select the hormone releasing intrauterine device. Option number 1 is Volt LNG20. Option number 2 is multi-load 375 or progesterone. Option number 3 is progesterone or LNG20, and option number 4 is lips loop or multi-load 375. So we have discussed this in the chapter reproductive health. So which among them is the correct option? Option number 3, that is progesterone and LNG20 are the hormone releasing intrauterine device which block the uterus and stop the process of implantation. I hope it is very clear with you. Now let's see the next question. In question number 151, a gene locus has two alleles, capital A and small a. If the frequency of dominant allele is A is 0.4, then what will be the frequency of homozygous dominant, heterozygous and homozygous recessive individuals in the population? So this is from the chapter evolutions. We have got about the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, right? So have you remember the formula of it? That is the p square plus 2pq plus q square is equal to 1. Now let's see the solution for this. So we have solved this equation by Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, that says the p square plus 2pq plus q square is equal to 1, which means the p plus q is equal to 1, and the frequency of the dominant allele, say it is p is 0.4, which is already given in your question, and the frequency of recessive allele, say q, will be 1 minus 0.4, that will be 0.6. Then the frequency of the homozygous dominant, homozygous means same allele, so dominant, it has been represented as capital A and capital A, that will be p square is equal to 0.4 whole square, which is equal to 0.16. Then the frequency of homozygous recessive, that is small a will be q square, and it will give 0.36, and the frequency of heterozygous individual, that is capital A and small a, which is equal to twice pq is equal to 2 into 0.4 into 0.6, which give 0.48. So which among them is the correct option? That is option number 3. In the option number 3, it has been written that the dominant heterozygous, that will be 0.48, then recessive allele 0.36, and dominant homozygous, that is 0.16. So option number 3 is the correct answer. Now let's see the next question. In the next question, question number 152, which of the following is true for golden rice? it is a vitamin A enriched with a gene from daffodil. Option number 2 is it is pest resistant with a gene from Bacillus thuringiensis. Option number 3 is it is drought tolerant developed using Agrobacterium bacteria. Option number 4 is it has yellow grains because of a gene introduced from a primitive variety of rice. So, among them, which of them is correct? That is option number 1. So, we have already discussed all the varieties of genetically modified crops in the chapter biotechnology and its applications. So, this golden rice is enriched with vitamin A and it is incorporated with a gene from daffodil. Now, let's see the next question. In the next question, question number 153, the pinus seed cannot germinate and establish without fungal association. This is because its embryo is immature. It has obligate association with the mycorrhiza. Option number 3 is it has very hard seed coat, and option number 4 is its seeds contain inhibitors that present germination. So, we have discussed this part from the chapter plant kingdom, right? So, this pinus seed cannot germinate and establish without fungal association. Why it is so? Because it has obligate association with the fungus, and that is called as the mycorrhiza. So, which among them is the correct option? So, that is option number 2, it has obligate association with the mycorrhiza is the correct option. Now, let's see the next question. So, in this question number 154, it has been said that which of the following features of the genetic code does allow bacteria to produce human insulin by recombinant DNA technology? So, here are 4 options given. The genetic code is not ambiguous. Number 2 is genetic code is redundant. Option number 3 is genetic code is nearly universal, and option number 4 is genetic code is specific. So, we have discussed all the salient features of the genetic code from the chapter molecular basis of inheritance. So, which among them is the correct option? That is option number 3. Genetic code is nearly universal, which means that in every living organism the genetic code is of the same amino acids. In the next question, as you can see here, question number 155, which of the following sexually transmitted disease is not completely curable? Gonorrhea, genital warts, genital herpes or chlamydiasis. We have already discussed all these types of sexually transmitted disease in the chapter reproductive health of class 12. So, which of them is incorrect one? That is the genital herpes. Genital herpes is a kind of sexually transmitted disease which is not completely curable till now. So, I hope it is very clear. Now, let's see the next question. In the question number 156, which of the following statement is incorrect? Viroids lack a protein coat, virus are obligate parasite, infective constituent in virus is the protein coat, and option number 4 is prions consist of abnormally folded proteins. So, we have discussed all the characteristic of viroids, then virus, then prions, and in fact the lichens also. So, which among them is the incorrect statement? That will be option number 3. In the option number 3, it has been said that the infective constituents in virus is the protein coat. Is this correct? No. So, what is the correct statement for this? That will be the DNA or RNA and not the protein coat. So, the answer will be DNA or RNA. But here it is written that protein coat. So, this is the incorrect statement.